Hey there Internet, this is Will from VidyaParty. I'm here today to do a short video on what I do to make silver in Black Desert. My methods may not be the most efficient, but they are largely passive once you get them running, and I make a good 3 to 4 million a day from it. So here we go. Just as a quick foreword for all of you guys, if you don't know the difference between giant, human, and goblin workers, giants generally have more stamina, so they'll stay out there. You can set them once a day generally, and they'll just go all day without you needing to refuel them and then repeat the tasks. Human workers, they're mediocre in move speed and work speed, but they have the highest luck. So if you're looking to farm secondary materials from a node, or if you need them for, say, upgrading your armor or weapons to ultimate, you definitely want as much luck as you can get to get those rolling with the least amount of materials. I'm currently ultimating my Grunil's, and I just got it after 4 attempts with a human worker in Ultinova. So it definitely makes a difference. And lastly, goblin workers have the fastest work speed, fastest move speed, but the lowest amount of stamina, so you'll need to, reload their task every couple of hours to keep them running efficiently. The first thing I do to make silver in Black Desert is I make a ton of boats. This may not be the most efficient use of your contribution, but I don't really do a lot of grinding, so I don't need it anywhere else. You don't need quite as many houses as I have in Etheria. You could do it with far, far less. I think like 22, 23 contribution will get you the shipyard, and it'll get you the string of lodging down here. But I chose to go with more because I like to make a ton of boats really fast. I make a boat every 3 hours or so. As you can see here, it's just really fast to get them going once you have the workers already stationed. I would recommend that if you're going to make a ton of boats, you start parking your alts in Etheria at the worker contractor to start hiring them with all of your excess energy, because it's going to take you a while to start, getting at least skilled goblins. The price breakdown, the last time I looked at it, which was last night, the cost of all the materials to make a boat is right about 825k. So if you're just going to buy all the materials and assemble the boat there, that's not really worth it. But what I do is I farm my own birch at these nodes, Quint Hill, Bree Tree Ruins, which I don't have right now. I actually pulled the contribution to get the Grunil Defense Forge to upgrade my Grunil armor, and Old Dandelion. These 3 nodes all go into Calpheon for me, and they give me the majority of my birch, which I then process myself. And other than the birch, you'll need usable scantling, which you can process from logs. If you're having trouble finding logs or usable scantling on the AH, you can get them from any tree. It doesn't matter which breed it is. You can just chop them down. You'll get 1 to 4 logs, I believe. And then there's bronze ingots, which I do not make myself. I just buy them, and they're definitely the most expensive part of the boat if you're using your own birch and you're farming your own sap. But I find it's just a better use of my time, and frankly, I don't have the energy after processing birch to really do anything else. And finally, there's Blackstone powder, which I just buy off the marketplace, because it is just really cheap. It's like $1,200-$1,300 per. You need 30 per boat, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to the cost for, like, say, bronze ingots. Now for the birch and the pine sap. The pine sap I farm around Florin in the Mast Owl Forest. Just this little part here. I get 400 or 500 an hour. It's pretty quick to farm. There's generally nobody else there. And the logs, if I need them, I farm around Bree Tree Ruins, because that is where a ton of birch trees are as well. So you'll gather your logs that you need and your birch timber that you can also probably use. But like I said, the biggest part about this that bottlenecks me is my energy. So if I can, I just try to use either my energy on farming pine sap or farming logs if I can't get one or the other. But if you can, you just want to save all of your energy for processing the fucking birch, because good lord, that is the most time consuming and energy consuming thing that you'll do when making boats. And once you get all of those materials together, you'll go to second floor number 3-5 in Etheria, which is the shipyard. I believe there's another shipyard, but this is the only one that has the tier 2 and the only one aside from Ilya that you can produce boats at. And you just go here and you'll start up crafting it. Make sure you slide the menu to the right, otherwise you'll start making a Calpheon ferry, which is not what you want. It'll just waste your time. And you just start queuing up your workers however you see fit. Generally you want to try and fit them in so that you can get them all working as efficiently as the next, so that you're not having one worker do 30 tasks while all the rest of them do 10. Because otherwise you're just going to be waiting on that one worker to finish while you have a bunch of other workers not able to do anything. The other thing I do for passive income is excavation nodes and a couple of Medea nodes. The first node that I go to is the Burnianto farm. This gives you Contaminated Tooth, but it also gives you Trace of Forest and Trace of Battle, both of which are good resources to sell because they're hard to come by. As you can see, Trace of Forest is generally max price, so it'll be about 14k per. And Trace of Battle is right about, I would say, 1500 average. It's not the best selling, but you get a ton of it as you farm as you go. The next node I do is Bear Riverhead. This is down here near Hex Sanctuary. So chances are, if you have this area already invested in for farming or grinding, you can easily just pop over to Bear Riverhead and invest in this one. This is just a tin ore node, but it is the only node in game that gives you Powder of Earth, which is a rare material used in costume manufacturing or the silver embroidered clothes manufacturing. I'm not 100% sure. I just know it sells really well. I mean, 14k always max price, and you get a ton of it. Just as a side note on these excavation nodes, you want to have human workers working all of them, because they have the most luck, like I mentioned earlier, in getting those secondary materials that make the node really worthwhile. The next node that I go for is Lynch Farm Ruins. This is, if you look online, generally everybody says this is the best node in the game to have workers working. And that's because you get Alter Imp's Broken Trumpet as a base, which only vendors for about 300 or so, but you also get Trace of Hunting and Trace of Savagery, which are both, again, high value materials that you can sell very quickly, very fast for max price. And as you can see, you generate a lot of the Broken Trumpets, so you can vendor those for a lot of silver as well. The next node I go for is Glish Ruins down here. This is just another excavation node, and this one gives you black dirt, but it also gives you Trace of Hunting and Trace of Savagery. On to Medea territory. The first node that I got here was Ancient Ruins Excavation Site. This gives you Trace of Chaos, Trace of the Earth, Obscuring Golem Fragment, and Broken Helmet Ornament. What really makes this node worthwhile in my book is just the base thing that you get, the Obscuring Golem Fragment. They're worth 900 silver each, and you get, a dozen or so per worker work cycle. So it's just, for me, it generates anywhere from 90 to 100k a day just hanging out. And then we get to the big nodes, which is Omar Lava Cave. I only have the zinc ore node here. This gives you zinc and platinum, which I've needed a lot of platinum lately, especially if you're going to do alchemy, or if you're going to do weapon and armor reform stones, you're going to need a ton of platinum shards. And this node, in addition to Abandoned Iron Mine, the iron ore node here gives you the rough black crystal, which you need for the reformed stones and a couple other recipes. And the zinc ore node here also gives you more platinum. And both of those together give you quite a bit of silver every day. As you can see in Altanova, I just cashed in my platinum yesterday, and I already have 164 more. One thing that's often overlooked is actually investing energy into your worker nodes. They give you a pretty good return. Like, I've gotten all of mine just about to level 2, level 3 at least. And that gives you more materials per cycle, in addition to more of the rare materials per cycle. I actually don't have this one Leveled up. Good to know. But Lynch Farm Ruins, I have this one at 4. It's not really worth pushing it much past 3 because you start spending hundreds of energy for very little return. But these are just the little things that I do to make silver. They may not be the most efficient, they may not be the best, but like I said, at this point now I'm earning 3 to 4, maybe 5 if I get a lot of boats out, million silver per day. And that's largely passive. Every couple of days I'll spend 2 or 3 hours farming sap or farming logs and using my energy to process them down into scantling, and that's about it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions about what I talked about today, just leave a comment below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And until next time, see you later.